Welcome back, everyone. We still don't have a name. It's just a Cosmic Wonder podcast, right? Does it need a name? We talk about
No.
Marvel and sometimes DC and Star Wars and other stuff. Welcome back. Welcome wherever you're listening. We should be up on Apple and Spotify if you're somebody who just wants to listen, not watch the video. Hello to YouTube if you're here. I'm Warren and this is Law.
Hello,
Welcome,
everyone.
Law, back. Last time we talked about the future of the MCU after Secret Wars. We talked about if it should reset or not. Thanks for all the feedback that you guys gave us in that video in the comments. Saw a lot of mixed reactions there, which is basically what I expected, and I think we're all have mixed feelings inside as well about it. There's good and bad to each thing, but today we want to talk about right now. I think there's going to be a big kind of like paradigm shift in the MCU because of Loki. I think Loki is going to like really bring us into like what is supposed to be like the true multiverse saga, right? Because we haven't felt it like too much yet, right? I mean, like we felt it a little bit, but oddly enough, everything hasn't been like so connected. Like Loki wasn't that connected to like Spider-Man No Way Home. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness wasn't even that connected to it, really, right? I mean, it's like it's interesting.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's about to change after Loki season 2 because we're diving back in and we're getting like not just one variant of Kang, but now multiple variants of Kang. And I feel like it's just gonna feel more like this is what it's supposed to be about, and this is how it's supposed to feel. What do you think about that? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's an interesting way to look at it because when we watched Loki season 1, and I think a lot of audiences would agree, we all thought that was going to be the starting point for like a big multiversal kind of cluster F, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
But as more projects release, it almost was like the MCU was like, oh, these are all different breaks in the multiverse, but they don't necessarily like compound with each other. Like they all happened
Right.
at once. Like we
Right.
could blame Sylvie for one, we could blame Doctor Strange for another. But I like the idea of like coming back to it in a much bigger way, especially because Quantumania did not fulfill like the Kang big bad
Yeah.
vibe for me.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Loki totally did that in season 1. Like when He Who
Yeah.
Remains shows up, he gives you a big scale of like what went down. And it would be disappointing to never see that. I think we talked about this
Of
in the
course.
last podcast, where it's just like, what are the stakes? Like, how is he affecting different timelines? And then if Loki season 2, because it like the trailer is a banger, I'll say that
Of
right
course.
now. Like
Yeah.
like
They
I don't know
always
if
do
it's
a
the
really good job
cut,
with the trailers, I would say.
it's really
Yeah.
good. And it's putting Tom in like, or in Loki in like a very almost heroic role. It more so than the first season because he was like
Oh, for sure.
coming to terms with his new existence, right?
Yeah.
But all that to say, I would be super down to see this become the major threat because we have big projects like Secret Wars coming up and King Dynasty and stuff.
Yeah. Actually, on that point, I did a Loki video.
Mm-hmm.
Crap,
A couple days
maybe
ago.
yesterday. I do a video every day, sometimes 2 videos a day. Sometimes it's hard for me to keep track. But it's funny, I retain all the information, but I can't tell you like the order that I put out the
Mm.
information. But it was a Kevin Wright, executive producer for Loki season 2, said that that is actually a story arc of this for Loki is actually more heroic than we've ever seen him.
Mm.
And it was a I remember what it was. It was one of the kind of like behind what do they call them?
Like a
Featurette.
featurette?
Featurette,
Yeah.
yeah. It was a featurette, and it's Tom Hiddleston kind of talking behind the scenes, Kevin Wright talking behind the scenes, and I think Tom Hiddleston says something like, he just cares about his friends now, like
Mm.
the people, which is like so not like Loki. He
Yeah.
all like in Loki season 2, he's just gonna care about his friends and doing what's right. I think because we hear them say in like the first trailer, I think it was that we got where she's like, we're playing God, and he's like, we are gods.
Yeah.
Because essentially they're gonna kind of take over the TVA, and they
Yeah.
can kind of decide what to do from here on out. And that's the real, and that's where the big decision comes in, because like you said, like He Who Remains in Loki season 1 in the finale was like, it was such a great performance by Jonathan Majors, because I'm just like, wow, it's like you said, you really feel that he's like a big major threat, and he shows you like, oh, there's a big multiverse battle, and he's like, and then I won, I took Eliath's powers and I won. Excuse me. And then it's like, okay, that was the guy we saw in Quantumania. You know, it's I saw something the other day that was like, the worst decision Marvel ever made was to introduce their big bad in Quantumania and have him lose. I'm like, maybe not the worst decision they made, but definitely one of them.
It's a weak decision.
I would agree.
For sure.
It was yeah, for sure. Like if you wanted to showcase the power that you showed us, or that you teased us with and scared us with in Loki season 1, like you didn't do a very good job with that. But Loki's now going to be faced with kind of the future of the multiverse, because he's going to kind of be like, how do we kind of shut it all down and get the main timeline to be kind of secluded like this guy did? Or should we even do that? Because then we are killing timelines, we're killing trillions of people, right? It's like, you know, so it's a big decision, but that scope of now there's all these timelines in the multiverse and everything like that, that's what we want to feel. And I know that's coming with Loki. And to take it even further, so much of what we've heard about Deadpool 3 is going to be that too.
Yeah.
And then we've heard that, you know, like that some stuff in between Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars is going to be possibly take place in another universe, like the Fantastic Four movie possibly being a different universe. And I remember, I can't remember who said it. One of the insiders, could have been, I'm trying to think. I don't know. I don't want to say the wrong person. So I won't say anybody at all. But one of the insiders, like, can we get some toast? My time shone low. One of them said something like, there was a person in the Illuminati in the 838 universe that wasn't actually there, that is still alive, and is going to have a bone to pick with our universe, and that person is the person responsible for creating those Ultron bots. So I want to believe it's Superior Iron Man.
Yeah.
And they said that will actually be addressed at some point. So I'm like, oh, that's cool, because now we have conflict between heroes of universe. Like, they're heroes, but they're of different universes. So it's not just going to be like the multiverse saga isn't just going to be like everybody fighting Kang. Like, there's going to be evil people or people who simply have bones to
think
pick
they're in the right.
Right. Exactly. So there's going to be a lot of different conflict, and it's going to be really cool to see.
Yeah.
And everybody has been waiting. Yes, we are waiting, but everybody's looking forward to that a lot.
Yeah.
And we haven't felt it yet, I feel.
Yeah.
And
at least not to the scale we expected it.
Exactly. I think everybody thought, like you said, like when Loki came out, from there, it was like, we're going to start feeling it in a lot of shows and movies. Maybe not all of them, but a lot. And we haven't. But and we were like, the problem is we were also kind of like teased with like No Way Home, Multiverse of Madness. Like, I really loved No Way Home. And I know some people, like, after the fact, like months later, years later, are like, yeah, it was
so
right.
good. I don't care.
I'm like, I'm like, fan service. I'm like, I like fan service. Like, if it's done right, like, I like it. Like, there's no
it's also problem. The MCU. That's like 30% of the enjoyment factor.
Yeah, no, exactly. If it's done right, like, I love it.
Yeah.
But again, like the way everything connected, it didn't so much, right? So now I feel like because Mobius is supposed to appear in Deadpool 3, and of course, obviously everything going on with the multiverse and the TVA and Loki season 2, from here on out, things have to really start to connect, or it's going to be like, you're going to be rushing way too much into Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a rush.
Yeah. And I think we've seen, I mean, like, when you have a title like Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness on its own, a good movie, a solid movie.
And I will say, I'll interrupt you real quick, because a lot of people crapped on that movie too, but it won movie of the year for like, I don't remember what, for like MTV or something like that. Like, it actually won movie of the year. No, People's Choice.
Okay.
People's
Well,
favorite movie.
you know what? It's still a damn good ride, right? And like
Right, yeah.
when you don't factor in the scale of the multiverse, it still works as a good movie.
Sure.
Now, like opportunities within that movie would have been like Scarlet Witch traveling multiverses,
Right.
seeing a version of Kang, like something like that, right?
Yeah.
Especially with America Chavez's power. We didn't get that. No Way Home, it kind of wraps up in a bow. No one remembers Peter Parker,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
but it's like it didn't address kind of the big gaping hole that Loki season one
Right.
created. And then now we have all these different, obviously these different Kang variants at the end of Quantumania. That's gonna have to lead somewhere. But
Hmm.
really, when I think about what I care about, I'm more interested in Loki's version of Kang and like
Yeah.
his story because he came back and the TVA was completely changed. Does
Right.
that mean history was rewritten? Is he in a new universe? How does
So I
he, a
actually
god,
know.
living? Oh, you do know?
Yeah. And I'm pretty
Is
sure
it spoiler or
I
is it
mean, it's kind of
confirmed?
like you can piece it together
Mm,
if you've seen like all the featurettes and all the trailers and stuff like that.
I see.
So I mean, I'll should I keep quiet? I
Let's
mean,
let's let them speculate for now,
I've
right?
mentioned it in videos.
Oh,
I've
you do?
mentioned it
Okay,
in
yeah. So
videos.
what
Yeah,
is it?
we'll talk about this in detail in just a bit. But first, big thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. Many of you may know that I personally use HelloFresh and I love it. It makes cooking fun, easy, and it's affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit delivered straight to your door. And you might not know that they actually have seasonal recipes. Right now, since it's summer, they have their new Fresh and Fit summer menu. So if you're trying to get that beach bud, but you're also trying to eat really great tasting food, it's perfect for you. Right now, it's peak time for summer produce, and HelloFresh makes sure you get all the best picks all season long. Their ingredients travel from the farm to your door in less than 7 days for quality you can taste. If you are trying to impress your friends this summer by doing some cooking for them, HelloFresh makes it super simple. They give you all of the ingredients and tell you exactly how to make each meal. And the best part is right now you can go to hellofresh.com/50cosmic and use code 50cosmic for 50% off plus 15% off the next 2 months. That's hellofresh.com/50cosmic and use code 50cosmic for 50% off plus 15% off the next 2 months. I mean, he basically gets. They say it in the. I think it's the first trailer they showed. Like he time glitches. He's time slipping. Is
Oh,
what it calls.
right. That's what
So
it is.
basically, he ends up back in time in the TVA, and that's why. So if you look in the trailer, you can see him kind of like prune a wall that shows the
Right.
timekeepers, and behind it is a picture of Kang.
Mm,
So that's actually in present time, but he goes back and he ends up back into the past in the TVA where Kang has not hid himself and introduced the timekeepers yet.
yeah,
I don't know
right.
why. I don't know what happens. I don't know like what happens at TVA to make Kang go, crap, I don't want people to know it's me. I'm going to invent the timekeepers. I don't know how that happens, but based off of some things I've heard and the trailers confirming speculations I had on my own, that is pretty much what I believe happens.
Okay.
Is he ends up back in a previous point in time in the TVA to where Kang is still openly ruling it.
And he's slipping through different dimensions.
Right. So it won't
space.
just be right. So it won't just be that point in time. Clearly, we've seen in the trailer that he goes
right, yeah,
multiple points in time. I still there's that one scene where he's in a jet ski dealership and I'm like hoping behind him is hidden Mobius getting a jet ski. We see that finally.
I know all of us were. That was the only thing we all wanted.
That's why we're like, there's a season 2. We know there's season 2. Please give it to us in season 2. Yeah, no. So, but there is like to your point, there is so much that needs to like pay off.
Yeah.
That hasn't paid off yet. And I think Loki's going to give season 2 is going to give that to us. And
it's interesting because it's still a TV. It's technically still a TV show. So why do you think this is the opportunity?
Well, I was about to say Loki, the first season.
Mm-hmm.
I've never actually sat there, and I know other YouTubers do this. I should have done this, but I've never sat there and just ranked everything. I've never like, this is my favorite. This is my blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I probably should. I'll do that soon, maybe.
That's a different video.
That's different. But without a doubt, Loki is probably my top 3 of movies and shows. Just anything, just projects in general. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I loved Loki.
Wow.
It is I shouldn't say by far, because I loved WandaVision as well. But it is by far one of my top favorite MCU projects post Endgame. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what else would really be up there with it.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi. Sure. I mean, there's a lot of great. I'm actually one of the people who do believe there's a lot of great things that have come out of Phase 4 and Phase 5 so far. Like Moon Knight. Oh my gosh.
Moon Knight, Guardians. I mean,
right, exactly. Like there's even the Guardians holiday special I thought was awesome.
Yeah, that was so good. Yeah.
So, and now I'm called the Disney show, right? Because I say that. But watch it's so funny. Someone recently said, like, I love everything. I'm like, did you not hear my review for the finale of Secret Invasion? Because I hated it. Like, not hated it. I can't say I hated it, but yeah, I tore into it. But I just think Loki really is people's like favorite top 5 whatever projects, and there's so much like that comes into play with it, because just the character, obviously people love Loki. People love Loki, and it's so cool to see him be such a true narcissist and fall in love with himself, a variant of himself. Like, it's so good. They did say, I want to say it was like an Entertainment Weekly article or something. That's one of those other things as well. I always read articles and interviews and stuff, so I mix them up as well. But in some interview, they did say that is going to be addressed some more, the romantic relationship between Sylvie and Loki. So I'm looking forward to that. So, but just like the overall vibe of it, the feel of it, but then it's the heaviness of it, because one of the first things that you see in the first half of Loki is the Infinity Stones aren't crap. And Loki's like, is this the greatest power in the universe? And it's like, well, kind of, yeah. It doesn't really exist, I guess, in a specific universe. Maybe they're gonna have to further carve out those details to us, right?
Sure.
Because one of the things I was like, well, how is Loki back in time in the TVA if it exists outside of space and time? And I read an article that said that will be addressed. It's kind of like in Endgame, how you can go back in time or time can go through you. Kind of one of those things. You know what I mean? But
you also, like, Eugene Cordero is back as Casey.
As Casey,
and in a couple clips in the trailer, it looks like he's in danger.
Right? Yeah.
Then you also have, like, Ki Kwan is here. Ki Kwan, he's playing a character Ouroboros, which is interesting to me, because the symbol of an Ouroboros is a snake eating its own tail, and I wonder if that has to do with, like, the grand scheme of the season. Like, we're doomed to repeat our mistakes regardless,
right? And because it's like, maybe Loki realizes that, like, you know what, He Who Remains was kind of right. Because look at all these variants coming. So that's a great point. That's good detail there.
There's a line in the trailer where he talks about being the god of mischief, always has been the god of mischief,
right? Yeah.
Do we foresee this version of Loki becoming the god of the multiverse almost? Like,
I like what you're saying there, because I've actually thought before, I'm like, who's going to defeat Kang? It's Loki.
It would be so sick if it was Loki, right?
No, it really would be. But if you think about it right now, who knows the most about Kang? Or I should say is going to, because I guess Janet Van Dyne knows the most about Kang.
If she knew, she would have told somebody. Sorry, one of my big gripes with Quantumania.
Yeah, right. You would imagine, like, I trapped him in there. No way he's gonna get out. Like,
she's like, don't mess with the multiverse or with the Quantumverse. It's like, why, Mom? I don't want to talk about it.
That's something you should have talked about.
Michelle Pfeiffer, come on.
Yeah, right. Jen, the original Wasp, Janet Van Dyne, is the reason the multiverse is in disarray. It's gonna collapse, and the Avengers are gonna lose. So give it up for the original Wasp. But no, I would argue, during Loki season 2. Well, actually, she might. Loki probably knows the most because he remains explained everything. Like, hey, there was this one guy, and their universe is on top of the other universe, and they visited each other. Then war broke out. Then I harnessed Goliath, and I have to do this. You don't understand. The TVA is the necessary evil, and everything that he said was going to happen if they killed him is happening. And I would love for no, WandaVision was first. I was going to say, was Loki the first thing to come from Phase 4? WandaVision was before it.
WandaVision,
but it was in the beginning, so it's like, and then at the end, it's like Loki. Sure. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would love for that. But even talking, it's so funny. Even talking about everything that we've talked about in this episode makes me feel more like it is the multiverse now.
Yeah,
which is like the whole point of this discussion is, I don't like the MCU dead talk. We've had it. Let me rephrase. I don't mind talking about it, but people who are like, "Oh, the MCU is dead," I'm like, I don't think it's ever gonna be dead. Like,
yeah.
And Endgame kind of really just made us feel like everything's just gonna be a banger, when it's like it's not, right? So that talk is interesting, but I think whatever those people are feeling, this is my point, and I never shame anybody for having their own personal opinion. If you think it's dead, I'm sorry. That sucks. I'm not saying you're wrong. That's
sorry,
your
you're not enjoying
that's
it
your
anymore.
feeling, right? I am genuinely sorry you're not enjoying it anymore. But I hope Loki is something that Loki season 2 is something that shifts that we have that paradigm shift in the MCU, because that is what I think. Because again, even after just talking about it in this episode, I'm like excited. And then all of the stuff that's gonna happen in Deadpool 3, I've heard so much.
Yeah, that looks
variance,
like a treat.
Right, and Battle World might be the thing, you know, the TVA kind of taking people from all these universes, put them in one world. Like, that's gonna be crazy, man. If all that stuff that we've heard out there is true about Deadpool 3, like, that's gonna be insane. So, you know, just going for, and then on top of that, like Captain America 4 is supposed to start the new Avengers team, stuff like that. Like, I feel like it's really all coming together now.
Yeah,
right. Like, almost, you know, people talk about Phase 4 being like the new experimental phase of Marvel. That's probably true. You know, introducing some new characters, doing Disney Plus stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But I think really it's about to feel more connected again.
I also think you mentioned it before. I think a big thing that would support this kind of big shift, like a shift in the universe, is the fact that it's Loki. Loki has been with us since whenever Thor came out, 2010, 2009, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so whether it was the Loki that we was like messing with the Avengers or this Loki that, you know, really does come up in Endgame, right? That's where we pull this one from.
Right, yeah.
Everyone has some kind of relationship or history with this character, what in universe and as audiences. Like, we all know who Loki is. Yeah. We all know what variants are. We all love Tom Hiddleston, right?
Right. Yeah.
It would make a lot of sense to give him the brunt of responsibility for because he teased the threat, and I would love if he was the reason that he fixes the threat too, or at least like attacks the threat, because Loki is so powerful, and we saw, you know, the Richard Grant version with his illusion.
Yeah, so
and
good.
I'm just like,
yeah.
I bet Tom can do something bigger though. You know what I mean? Like, I bet this Loki, given everything that he's learned with this heroic path he's on.
Yep.
I think you might be onto something, because like I would actually love that as a proper entryway to the multiverse.
I think Loki's, it plays a huge part in saving the multiverse.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it just makes sense story-wise. Like, everything he's learned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, everything he knows. And to your point, there is a part in one of the trailers, I think it was a more recent one, where like Loki and Sylvie grab hands and they seemingly like use their powers together to make it stronger. So he is definitely learning more. And, you know, Sylvie is the one who taught him a little bit in season 1 as well. So I think by the end of this, he's going to be really, really powerful.
Yeah.
Really. And we've seen, you know, him create those like shadow illusions that actually physically grab the guy. So some new Loki powers are going to be shown, and I'm just really excited to see how the story plays out.
Yeah,
really, with these variants, because we have at least 2, Victor Timely,
right,
and He Who Remains is apparently
coming back,
or like
cameo or
another
something.
something, you have to wonder, like, I mean, he did say I'll see you soon, but you have to wonder, like, okay, who is it really there, you know?
Sure,
But yeah, I feel I haven't been this excited in a long time. Because Loki is literally the next thing that's coming out. And I just feel like from here it's just going to get really, really exciting, really connected, really good. And I hope that's how it is for a lot of fans as well. I hope people don't feel like Marvel's dying after this.
Well, I think, like, you know, bringing it back to an OG character that we love.
That I like what you said
that
there.
does something to the soul. I think as a fan.
Well, and especially when you consider there's not, like, you know, Captain America's gone, Iron Man's gone, Hulk's not the same.
And people have things to say about that.
Right, exactly. That's a really
you
good
know
point
what? It's kind of goofy. I'll say this. This will kind of be my last point. It's goofy when you see all the gangs in the tribunal and they're like they're cheering.
Yeah.
But I'm actually kind of hype off the idea of all of those kings facing off an army of Loki illusions. You know what I mean?
Cool. Yeah, like, that would be super cool.
I'm kind of into that. Like, why wouldn't we have that? You know,
I mean, that's a Marvel thing to do, a giant big CGI army fight at the end of a movie, right?
So. And then follow the main ones. That's it.
Right.
Just have it in the background. Yeah.
Well, a lot of exciting things to look forward to. Let us know what you guys think about this. Are you excited for Loki season 2? I hope everyone says yes. If not, I hope you still watch it and get excited. Because I think it's gonna bring at least a really big tonal shift to the MCU as it is right now.
I will say, if you're not excited, let us know why. I would genuinely be curious. Yeah.
Let us know why. Yeah. Maybe superhero fatigue, right? It's real for some people. But we'll see. I think this is going to be a banger. I think it's going to be, I hope it's 10 out of 10. And like you said, Loki is he's an OG. I'm excited for him. So let us know all your thoughts. And please let us know if you're not excited for it, like Lost said. And we'll catch you all in the next episode. We enjoy doing these. So look out for that. See you guys.
Boom, boom.